Hello. Welcome to the show. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you hit the like button on your way in. And I have a poll to try to get to the bottom of this situation here. We're going to get to the bottom of the situation here, and we're going to figure out how we're going to change this situation. So the poll, or the poll is, ladies, have you been accused of being masculine or competing with a man? And we got a couple of votes already. It's 50-50 split. So I'm really anxious to look to see how that goes and by the end of the night. So make sure you hit the like button and make sure you answer the poll. Now that's only for the ladies, right? So I do plan on asking the men, the 2 or 3 men that actually watch, if they have run into ladies who are masculine and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what this is. Turquoise. Hello, NW Turquoise. Writing headphones. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Greetings to High Vibe. Hey, Dr. Hey to you, NW. Good evening, dr.L and Marshaun. Hit the like button when you step into the room. It's gonna be good, y'all. Yes, I'm looking forward to this. Coach Marshaun and I have been texting, and we've both been anxious to get into this conversation. So let me say welcome to you, Coach Marshaun. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. L. I'm really excited to get into this conversation. So thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited. Let's do it. I think it's going to be something juicy and something that women, and as you said, the few men that do watch can actually hear as well as learn something.
Okay. Very good. I'm kind of skeptical. Do I want to show this or not? So I want to start this off with a show that I did on a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. What do men get in relationships? I think it was a live show that I did, and somebody commented. I don't know if I can show it. Let me see if I can show it here. Share screen. All right, this is going to be us. You'll see us again here. So this says, let's see. This says, hey, Dr. L, I understand the 3 F's of what a man wants. If you don't know what the 3 F's are, then you got to go watch it. Mm-hmm. However, as a former captain of the police department, you must have wanted a lady who could fulfill more than the 3 F's. Those occasions when you hosted upper level colleagues from law enforcement community at your home, I am certain you rested in your confidence, that you knew your wife knew how to converse when needed. Likewise, the occasions when you attended those functions, you wanted a wife who was poised and knew how to move smoothly with you as you networked. That all takes a woman who is well-versed and versatile with people from different backgrounds. In summary, a man who's moving up in their respective fields needs a versatile woman who can grow with him. And this is from the D5. So I wanted to say thank you to her for writing that, because I think that there's a struggle for ladies to understand the roles that men are looking for. I'm sure we're going to get into this as we go on, but I wanted to read this before we got in too far into it, and I forgot to read it because I thought it was a good comment, and I was very appreciative of her saying that. Now, to be very clear, I did not have brothers at my house. because I because I I didn't have those type of wives. But her point is well taken. You got to have more than just feed them, F them, and there was another F there. So anyway, we'll get into that. Coach Marshaun, thank you once again for having come on to the show. Please tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I am Marshaun Olaniyan. As you can see, I'm actually a shift relationship strategist, and I literally help and serve Black women specifically because I feel that we need spaces just for us. But I help them to recognize exactly what's going on, the areas in which they're rich in, the areas where they fall short in, and specifically those who are looking to get back into dating and why they didn't get to the next level, if you will, and or why they continue to waste time, continue to waste energy. And so I helped them to understand what was happening in order for them to be able to navigate dating with more confidence, clarity, and intentionality this time around.
Very good. Now, how did you get into this line of work? How did you get
there? I'm sure like most people, I got into this line of work specifically because I felt like I'm a divorcee, and I felt like I shouldn't have been a divorcee because I saw my parents in my childlike eyes have a really successful relationship. The issue was that I just saw some things, we never had deeper conversations about them. So I was groomed in believing that everybody wanted to be a part of a relationship, a healthy relationship, to death do you part relationship. And when I got out into the dating world, it just wasn't the case. So unfortunately, I bumped my head a time or 1,000 trying to understand what was actually happening and why this thing, the idea, what I saw from my parents, excuse me, how come I didn't have that as well? So I had to, I would go on YouTube. This is when YouTube was very young. And so I went on YouTube to try to figure out some things. I took some digital dating courses, read some books, and I even had some conversations with my exes. And I have to say they were more situationships than real relationship exes because I was having issues getting to the next stage. And once I interviewed them, got some feedback, I started working on those particular areas. So bringing all of that together, I started to have more successful quality men approaching me. My friends and family saw this, and then they started to ask for my help. Then I started my own YouTube channel, which is my platform. So I started my own YouTube channel back in 2015. So that original channel is not there anymore. But in any event, I started YouTube specifically because I felt like a lot of the dating coaches at the time were only talking about the honeymoon phase, how to get the guy. So they weren't talking about anything deeper, in my opinion. Years ago, it was more of just how to get the guy. It wasn't talking about when the rose color glasses come off. It wasn't talking about, how to navigate through conflict and, be a better communicator, how to listen, all of the things. And so because that was not being shared back then, I felt that it was my duty to start to share those things on my own platform as well. And then people started reaching out to me. Well, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And it literally kind of stemmed from there. When I originally started talking about dating and relationships and even marriage at the time, I didn't really think that it was going to turn into a business. I was just like, there has to be more than dating. Like, that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. You're not in a relationship in the dating phase. You're really trying to qualify the people. And so anyway, that's what made me get into this line of work, because I just felt like it was a lack of it years ago.
You brought up something that I want to kind of hone in on. So you grew up in a two parent home. You said that, right?
I did.
Two parent home. You saw successful relationships, or yes. A successful, at least one.
Yeah, a successful
came from. So you're asking, or come to the realization that the same one that I have is, what the heck happened? Yeah. So I was in a relationship too, long-term relationship. Now, my mother wasn't married. I didn't come from that. But we got to answer the question as to what happened and why are we in this situation? What do you think is different from your parents' relationship? And I think a lot of us will be able to relate to this. What do you think is different from the times when our parents, our grandparents were doing what they were doing, they were married, versus what's going on today when divorces are running rampant? What are you seeing?
What I see in it is a lot of us present day have the mindset that we literally make divorce an option. Well, if this don't work out, I'm just gonna get a divorce, on to the next one. And I never really had that mentality, although I am a divorcee. I literally was thinking getting married and having my 2.5 kids, my dog, white picket fence, one time. And so obviously that didn't happen for me, but I was really trying to, I think that a lot of people, let me say this, men and women alike, take relationships for granted. We even hear people say that marriage is just a piece of paper. And there is so much deeper than that. And I think that people have an out, or they make it an out. They don't say this literally is till death do you part. It's become an option. And so many more people are not even getting married, period. So that's a whole nother ball game in itself. But I really do believe that a lot of it has to do with, it could be a lot of the programming that we had. Well, I don't want to make that mistake. I mean, I'm going to get a divorce anyway. 50% of the population gets divorced anyway. So why even go down that road? It could be a whole lot of these things in play. But my top is just, it's an option. Like, it's not a big deal anymore. But further, going back into what our parents is saying, or did, I should say, I think that some of them, not all, but the majority of the relationships, specifically in our community, mom and dad, they stayed together. And this is my opinion. I believe that it had more to do with survival, right? Because back then, a lot of the women were not working. He literally was the breadwinner. He was bringing home all of the money. And so it was more survival. And a lot of men had multiple families, 2 different households, but still multiple families doing their own thing. So I think a lot of the marriages that stayed together, not all, but a lot of them had more to do with the survival. I'm not going to be able to eat, neither are my kids if I leave. Like, what am I going to do? So I think it had a lot that played a part in it as well.
Okay. And so you entered into this line of work. You start to see now. Tell us about the changes that you made, because you said you started to make some changes. You interviewed your exes, trying to figure out what you were doing wrong, and then you got some change, or you noticed some changes or made some changes. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. So, like I said, I interviewed several of these ex-situationship people because we never got to the girlfriend stage, and obviously nowhere beyond that. And what they reported to me or gave me insight on was that I was pretty clingy. Didn't know that was a thing, but I was pretty clingy. I had a low self-esteem, although they didn't say this part. It was after just listening and reading and coming to my own conclusion, like, oh, you got low self-esteem, sis. You got to start working on that. Like, they can't help you with that. You got to help yourself with that. But it was mainly just clingy, didn't like to hear no. Like, I didn't really like boundaries, if you will. I wasn't like the stalker. I'm coming to your house and, key in your car. It wasn't any of the things like that, but it was totally like the inner work that I didn't know I needed to do. And so that's what they were pointing out to me. Like, okay, you got some insecurities that are here, that are showing up. I showed up one way. And then once we started dating, I guess my representative went away and I clearly was showing up in a manner that just wasn't attractive to them. And I had to own that. I literally had to own that because I just didn't know. And most of us don't know what we don't know. And so I wanted to put on my big girl panties and have conversations to say, what was it that you didn't find attractive about me to make us not go to the next level? It wasn't me trying to go, and actually I didn't even get back with any of those men that I had conversations with. I literally was trying to figure out what was happening.
Now, I'm assuming that you had gone on a few dates, and how many dates this time period that you're talking about, right? So you had to do this inner work. You had to figure out, you figure out your low self-esteem. Roughly, how many dates had you gone on that you noticed hadn't gone anywhere? How many was that?
Honestly, Doc, I never thought about this question. I know it had to be at least a handful, maybe 2 handfuls, like, because it didn't click. The first couple didn't click. So I want to say it wasn't more than a dozen, but it was definitely over 5.
Okay, so between 5 to 10. Over 5 between 5 and 11, somewhere around that. And so you noticed, and how many dates rough, these are just rough estimates, I know you haven't thought about it. How many dates would one guy give you, or how many dates of that 5 to 11 that we're talking about would you get out of one guy before it fizzled out?
Let's see, in between 3 to 5, so I guess the average is about 4.
So roughly 4 dates, and you just notice it fizzled out, and so you're attributing the fizzling out of those dates for whatever reason to insecurities, to being clingy, and everything else that you mentioned. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, when you did the inner work, did you notice that the relationships lasted longer, or you said you were meeting higher quality men, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how many dates were you getting out of those particular men? How many?
Okay, all of this putting on the spot. So you should have told me this. I'd have thought about this.
I'm sorry. I told you I shoot from the hip.
You did. So, man. So if before it was like 4 roughly, then it was definitely way more than that. So I would say probably no more than 6, but I was qualifying them better, so I wouldn't waste as much time, because I was like, well, no, we're just incompatible, and that's okay. So I wouldn't waste as much time as I did prior to, because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know what to look out for, how to do those things, and how to disqualify them. So I was wasting a lot of time, energy, and effort on men that I shouldn't have been wasting time on.
Okay. I could keep going down this road. I know we want to get to the topic here, but that is, maybe I'll have you back on to talk about that qualifying man and all that, because that's fascinating to me, and maybe we'll get to it later. Who knows? I want to say hello to some people here. Let's see. Salute to you, East Point. Thank you so much. Blue Sapphire. Hello. A Good. Hello. East Point says, welcome, Ms. Marshaun. Definitely agree. The marriage covenant is no longer valued and respected like it used to be. You think we'll ever get back to that, where we respect the marriage covenant? You think
that? No, I don't actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. Why do you say that?
I don't. I think because, okay, so without making this too biblical, I will just say that everything that's happening has been prophesied already. And so, no, we won't get back to it. I think that there will be certain people that will do it, but as a whole, as a human, no.
Okay, very good. High Vibe says, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining the chat. Please hit the like as you come on in. I appreciate that. Please hit the like button. Caught the live. Thank you and hello to you, David. Excuse me, Garrett. Let's see. Mike David says most modern women are masculine. It's not bashing, it's just facts. We're gonna get to that into a second here. High Vibe, yes, the inner work. Garrett says, been dancing. I asked one woman just for a simple coffee. Women, if a coffee date is too little or not enough interest, even for that, don't know what to tell you. We'll get into that hopefully a little bit later. Mojo says BS. Okay. Mike, they're usually exceedingly masculine. Okay, we're gonna jump into this in a second here. Lorelei, hello. Always interesting conversation. I love listening to. Someone say prophecy, speak Isaiah 4:1. Let's see. Being a modern woman means you possess a significant level of masculinity at Garrett. Let's get into that. Have you dealt with masculinity, or the topic of the show? You selected the topic, so tell us about what you've seen in masculinity. The ladies that you've been running into. Tell us.
So how they're showing up as masculine? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think that some of these things happen, and a lot of times we don't even look at them as being masculine. And it could be something as simple as cutting him off mid-sentence or correcting him. Basically, he's saying that he's going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're like, no, do it this way. So correcting him in whatever manner that is.
And people are doing that in the first couple of dates.
What? Yeah, some people do that. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I think that some people, and this one I find to be at lower on the totem pole, but it still does happen, which is where a woman is comparing her accomplishments to his. And so maybe he'll say, I have whatever, I have this particular car. And she's like, well, I got that car too. Or I got this house. Well, I got this house, or I got 3 houses, or whatever. So it's like, instead of looking to connect with the person, it's more of a competition that is happening. And it might be something that you're not even paying attention to, because a lot of times we're so ingrained as women that we have to feel like we have to show up to show you what we have, when, and I've heard this from men before, that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for the same type of thing that we're looking for. So the stability and everything, men are not necessarily looking for us to be the provider and to stabilize the relationship in that way financially. It's good that you have it, but that's not on the top of their totem pole to choose you as the woman.
Now, are you noticing this from men who are accomplished or doing something? You said that even in your own life, you were able to select better. Are you noticing this same type of behavior from ladies who are selecting for better men?
Wait. Ask this question again.
You said the ladies are coming to you to be coached, I'm assuming, to be coached about how to stop cutting men off mid-sentence and the other masculine traits. Mm-hmm. Are they doing this with men who they think are accomplished?
Some. The majority are in some way lower than her. And most of the time it's emotionally. That's what I mean by lower. So don't come for me all about all of these things, but it's usually the EQ that he is lacking in, where she is showing up being more masculine. One of the comments I just read said that, yes, someone has to be the masculine one. And that is true. There has to be a masculine, there has to be a feminine. But I think, and I believe that it depends on your relationship, because each of us have masculine qualities, just like each of us have feminine qualities. It depends on your relationship, which role you want to play.
It depends on your relationship, which role you want to play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's, in my opinion, it does, because everybody's relationship is not the same. There are some men that want to take the back seat and allow her to be the leader in the relationship.
I'm not going to fight you on that.
Okay. There are, but then the opposite is also true. There are plenty of women that don't want to be the leaders, but we're wearing all of these hats. And specifically in our community, the most educated, right, in our community. And so a lot of us are in these high-powered, dominant positions. And a lot of that dominance is where we're pulling out all of these masculine traits, like fixing and planning and all of the things that go into, being a lead on the job. Unfortunately, that leader on the job does not translate into the leader into the relationship for most of us. And because most of us are wearing so many of these hats, most women don't want to wear all of these hats. Believe it or not, most women don't want to wear all of these hats.
Okay. You're saying a lot here. I'm taking some notes here.
Okay.
So first, I want to talk about dating men who are lower status, whatever that means to you. And you said don't come for you, but we're gonna open up the door. They're gonna come for you. What do you mean? What do you mean when you say a ladies are dating men? You said EQ, emotional. Mm-hmm. What is that?
Intelligence, emotional intelligence.
Yeah, EQ, emotional intelligence, right? So I should know that, right? I teach these classes.
It's okay.
It's okay. Why are ladies selecting for those types of men, number one? And how is that? I mean, explain to us how a man is not emotionally up to par. Explain that.
Okay, so it could just be in ducking and dodging emotions, ducking and dodging those types of conversations where feelings are involved, where instead of leaning in, explaining a bit more, going into how this thing is making you feel, it's more avoided or ducked and dodge. Distractions come into play, or it's blown off. And again, that's where the disconnection comes into play versus the connection, because vulnerability on both ends is needed in order for a deeper connection for the both of you to come together. It's needed. You don't have to showcase it to everybody in the world, but you have to be vulnerable with your partner. There has to be a safe space with your partner so the both of you can get to understand and know one another.
Are women, man, you really, okay, I got to take a lot of notes here. So are women, I'm writing this down here. Are women specifically selecting for lower men? And we're talking about lower emotional intelligence and even sometimes lower financially, lower educationally. Are they selecting for those types of men? And I'm talking, when I say, for the rest of this conversation, I want this to be about women who are doing something with their lives. Middle class, they got bachelor's degrees and up. We're sticking with those types of type of women. I'm assuming those are your coaching, right? We're not talking about those who are dancing at college graduations and all those other videos and stuff, right? So are they selecting for lower men economically, educationally, and emotionally intelligent?
I'm gonna say it's not on purpose. So it's not a conscious thing that they're actually doing, because they're used to, again, being the leader, right? Showing up in their masculine because of the types of positions. I don't think that they're doing it on purpose, but they're still doing it.
They're still doing it.
Okay. Yeah, they're still doing it, but it's not on purpose. It's not something that they're consciously like, I'm gonna go out there and look for the brokers do, or one that's making less than me. And even hitting just that particular thing specifically in our community, a lot more Black women specifically are making more than their counterparts. So that's a different conversation, because I know that still rubs a lot of men the wrong way, but it's our reality. If you want to be in a relationship with the Black woman and the Black woman want to be in a relationship with the Black man, just the way that it's going, Black women are making more of the money.
But they're not.
But they are.
They're not. Okay. Black women still are not making as much. Now, Black women certainly have more education. And it's probably in 10 years, who knows where it's going to be. Although I just saw a video talking about, and there's going to be a lot of layoffs and stuff. But Black women still, on average, earn less than Black men.
You know what? I'm not gonna push you on that. I'm not gonna push back on that, because I don't have numbers in front of me. So I'm just gonna say, okay, all right.
Well, we can go to blackdemographics.com. We can verify this thing. Still, on average, Black women have more homes, yes, or single family homes, and they are more educated as far as getting bachelor's degrees. And when it comes to upper level degrees, masters and doctorates and stuff, they're definitely blowing Black men out the water. But even bachelor's degrees, it's like a 6 percentage points, like 32%, or maybe 30% of all Black women have a bachelor's degree, where it's 26% for men, which isn't blowing men out the water. Which isn't. I mean, it's we're okay, but you go to master's degrees and up. Yes, they are. Okay. So you mentioned this about being a Black. Is this a Black woman phenomenon showing up in your masculine?
I think it has become one. Yeah, I think it has become one. I think that most women, specific, because I'm gonna stop saying Black women, because that's what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna say women, but I'm specifically talking about Black women. For women, the single parent homes and having to wear all of the hats, and we know that society has been ripping our Black men from us, as well as other factors. But let's just stick with society. We have had to wear so many hats for a very long time. And so I think that they're, having to show up that way. I was listening to something, I can't remember what I was listening to, but it specifically said that the woman in her feminine or her softness doesn't show up unless she is receiving from the man. And I actually agree with that. Yeah, I actually agree with that.
Right. So you're saying we got to get men to show up in a more masculine way. Is that what you're saying?
Could be that, but I'm just saying showing up. So we know that even though we talked about the Black woman and how she is the most educated and everything. She's still the least selected for. So a lot of that masculinity she is going to wear because she's doing all of the things. She's rearing the children, she's running the household, and all of the other things that come with that. And then she still has on her masculine hat because of the career that she has. So
okay,
she hardly ever has. I'm sorry, I just want to finish this. She hardly has a chance to take said hat off.
All right, we got a troll in here. I'm not gonna give this guy. I am gonna. Okay. So okay, emotionally safe. I want to kind of go through these questions here that I wrote down. Emotionally safe. Do you think that Black women are providing? We're talking about women or just women, whatever. Black women. Are they providing an emotionally safe? Because I hear this all the time. Guys got to show up. They got to be emotionally vulnerable. They got to talk. They got to talk their feelings. I hear it all the time. But then women, and I played numerous videos about this, and I've had conversations with women who have said when a guy shows up in this particular way, they look at him as weak. If he's going to panic, they're going to panic. And as soon as he starts showing his emotional, vulnerable side, they can't take it. Are women allowing a safe space, and are they? You think that they're really equipped to see a man in his vulnerable state?
Ooh, that's good. I'm gonna say the exact same thing, which is if she is emotionally mature enough, then yes. A lot of us are not as mature as we believe we are. And that's on both sides. So both sides. We say what, like you said, they say that they want somebody to be vulnerable, but as soon as he is, you shut him down. You're talking trash about him. I knew I should have just took the lead. Why? That's not a partnership. That's not creating something where he wants to stay, where he wants to open up to you, where he wants to feel safe. But that's also it's on the opposite side as well. But I know we're specifically talking about men and him showing up that way. But soon as he does, and does it happen with everybody? Absolutely not. But for emotionally mature women, he'll be fine. Most of us are not as mature to be in these adult relationships and marriages as we believe we are.
And you agree that that the masculine presenting woman is turning off a masculine presenting man. You agree with that?
I do agree with that. I do. I don't think, again, this is why we said subconscious or unconsciously. You don't realize this is what you're doing, but your actions is doing just that. So the very thing that you really want, which is the relationship with this masculine man that's going to come in and lead, so you can take off this hat, this masculine energy hat as the woman, you're not able to do that because you don't understand what you're doing and why he's reverting and or running away. Because some men may not run away completely, like he might be physically there, but he's emotionally detached from you. He can't trust you with anything because you've thrown it back in his face. You called him weak. And so all of these things are now building up. He might stay there physically, but he's gone emotionally.
You think that could lead to cheating because he's not there emotionally? Now he might seek out, right? He's there physically, paying bills, doing what he's got to do, but because he feels emasculated in some way, he's now going to seek out a more feminine woman.
Okay, I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes, but I still don't think it's right to do. I still don't think it's right to do the whole cheating aspect. But the simple answer is yes. It can lead to that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're kind of jumping around here between being in full-fledged relationships versus, meeting someone on a first couple of dates. So let's go back to the first couple of dates here, and give us some things. I know you said this before, but I want to write them down here. You said cutting off a man in mid-sentence, taking the lead. Give us some other masculine qualities, and we're going to get into competing in a minute here. But give us some more masculine qualities that women are doing in the first couple of dates that would turn off a masculine presenting man.
Okay. Where taking the lead on creating the date experience, or like all of the planning, making sure that everything is in alignment, It might even be picking up the check. Some men
Are
don't
they
want.
doing that? Where they doing this at? I'm okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now wait a minute. You didn't been out on a date with somebody that tried to pay the check. Come on now.
Never.
What?
Never. I don't know. I don't know what any man is talking about. That is never. I mean, it's always the fake. Oh, you want me to pick up this check? That I don't count that. Every woman does that.
No. Okay, I'm not gonna go into me. I'm gonna say that there are women out there that will pick up the check and not think nothing about it.
My email address is Big L. No, I've never met. I've never. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm doing something wrong. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but okay, so let me stop there, because this could be that, well, I don't need a man, I'm gonna take care of myself. Maybe she's thinking that he's gonna get something at the end of the day if he pays. So let me not do that. Let me just pay so I can just leave and not worry about feeling guilty or feeling like allowing him to think that I just came for a free meal. I didn't just come for a free meal. I could pay for myself. But with all of
you got the neck roll. I see you got the neck rolling
stuff, it's just well, because that's the inner conversation that she could be having as to why she pays.
Okay. All right. Picking up the check, cutting men off mid-sentence, taking the lead for the date experience. What? Picking up the check. What other masculine things are y'all doing? That I'm not seeing on dates? What are y'all?
You know what? I'm gonna say, again, this is some, of course, not all, but expecting him to prove himself, prove that he's worthy.
Ooh.
Or
so when you say that, you're saying, are they putting pressure on him? Because if he doesn't, I'm going to take over. Is that kind of what you mean?
No, it's more of because I've been hurt. I know that this probably is not going to last anyway, right? So I'm looking for what we call red flags. I'm looking for. I know that they're there, so I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, because he's too good to be true. He's too good to be true. So
I've definitely run into that.
What, too good to be true? Oh, you ran into that one, but you ain't run into the money one, like them picking up the check.
It never happened, but I definitely run into. Really, I run into that often.
How'd you handle that? Let me ask you a question. How did you handle that?
No. I asked the questions on this.
So. I really
got. So that's a good question. How did I handle that? I probably just listen. I just move. I'm just me, and I don't think that I have to prove anything to anyone. I mean, I proved myself throughout my 52 years of life, and if you don't like what you see, it is what it is. I mean, we can call it, but my days of having to prove myself and this, that, and the other, and I just wouldn't move like that. So I don't know anything specific that I've said in those times or whatever, or the too good to be true thing. Yeah, they would say, why are you out here? Or, you really can't, or how come you're single? Those kind of questions. I'm just like, listen, it is what it is. I mean, I think that ladies have so many options, right? It's like, let me see what else is out here. And listen, I've run into some ladies who wanted to full-time commitment and stuff, but or marriage and stuff, but I just wasn't ready for it at that particular time. They were nice ladies and all, but I just wasn't ready for it at that particular time. And kudos to them, because a lot of them held their ground and said, okay, well, listen, if you're not ready for marriage, then we got nothing else to talk about. So I actually give ladies like that a lot of credit. So that's pretty much, I hope I answered your question there.
You did.
About that. Okay. Anything else that you wanted to say as far as we got cutting men off mid-sentence, taking the lead for the experience? And I've heard a lot of ladies saying that, right? They got to plan the dates. The guys don't move fast enough, particularly if you meet them online or whatever, and they just want to text forever. Do you associate that with more feminine type of qualities that are going on these days that you're seeing in men?
I wouldn't necessarily say feminine. I would equate it to all of the choices that we have. And when we have too many choices, we don't make a choice at all. That I wouldn't say it's a feminine thing. I just say a lot of us we're greedy and we're always looking for the next best thing. We're greedy and we're always looking for the next best thing. And so why do I have to settle for this one who's, she's fine, pretty, whatever the standards are for you. But then the next person, well, I might miss out if I actually lock in this one over here. So I wouldn't necessarily say, no, to me, it would not come off as feminine more than it would come off as you just got some more choices. And I think specifically with online, go ahead. I think.
No, well, maybe my question wasn't clear enough. I'm saying that the ladies are noticing that men aren't being assertive and aggressive planning dates. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, excuse me. And so what's the question behind that? Maybe I missed it.
Are you noticing that, and are women associating that with being more feminine?
Oh, okay.
Feminine qualities in men.
Because they're not
planning dates, because they're not taking charge, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood. Then yes. Yeah. Then yes. Okay. Because again, women are looking for most women are looking for the leader, somebody to take the lead, and planning the date is a leadership quality. Like just planning, period, is a leadership quality. So yes, it's exhausting. And I'm actually want to back up and address something that you just said, which is women feeling like they have to. But that's actually a choice that you're making to do. You can choose not to do that. You can choose to say he's not a match for me, because all of that energy that you're putting into making sure that you in his face, in his space, in his company, you're gonna have to keep that energy up, and that is exhausting. You're gonna feel like you're chasing him, because that's what you will be doing. Feel like you're chasing him, chasing the relationship. You make the choice to do it or not. And so for the women that are saying, I have to, no, you don't. You don't.
So why are they doing it? And before you answer that, hit the like button. And we got some votes in here about ladies, have you been accused of being masculine or competing with the man? We're gonna get to the competition thing in a second here. But hit the like button and make sure you answer the question there if you're a lady. And I totally forgot my question was. You remember my question was?
No, you went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, listen, one of us got to pay attention on this slide.
Okay, you know what? I'm tired of you throwing me on the bus, Doc. Hold on now.
No, I'm just saying, throwing myself under the bus too. Like I asked the question, I don't remember. So why are? Oh, here's a question: why are women doing that? Why are they choosing to go out with a man who they determine to be quote unquote less masculine, whatever they are lesser, instead of just saying you're not a match for me? Are you noticing that a lot, and why are they doing that?
I think that when most women that come to me, they're unaware that these things are even happening, right? And so we figure out what's actually happening, come up with the strategy. A lot of times it's that practicing the new habits and the new behaviors. So they may go out on more dates than they really need to go out on, because they're practicing picking up and becoming more aware of the red flags, if you will, or the things that are just incompatible, like their core values and stuff. They might not get to ask those particular questions depending on how their dates are going or whatever. So again, I'm gonna go back. I think that it's a subconscious thing that's actually happening, not something that they're immediately going out there. So some of the time is wasted per se, but other is them getting their practice in to say, okay, no, this is not working out for me. Or I need to ask some more qualifying questions about this particular thing, because we can read into things and we can make up our own stories. And this is people, I'm pointing at myself, but I'm not just saying this is a woman thing. We can make up some doggone stories about what the person said. And so sometimes we got to go back and get more information.
Okay, we got to get more information. Okay. I guess the question to that would be, why are you doing that in the first place? If it's the first couple of dates, somebody said in here, Glorious Love says, yes, I'm noticing that they play around asking you out. So they're playing around asking you out. And then when they finally get to the point, whether you ask him or he asks you, you're taking up the dating experience. Why continue on with it? Or certainly maybe you go through the first date, But the second date, I can't see that because he's already not asked you. He's already not planned the first date. You haven't seen leadership qualities. Why would you go out on a second date with him?
Okay, so specific to this leadership quality, when I am encouraging my clients to go out on more dates, it's not necessarily because he's not showing up in a leadership role. There's other things that, again, she's trying to get information for. If you know that you're looking for a leader, let me put it to you like this, Doc. If the woman knows that she's looking for a leader and he is not exhibiting leadership skills, you are definitely wasting your time. So you shouldn't even want to be out on a first date with him if it's taking him too long to lean into you, to get to know you, to take you off the dating app, at least to have a conversation with you on the phone. If the only thing you two are doing is on the dating app and or off the dating app, but still only texting, you wasting your time and energy. But then that also goes into the loneliness factor, because a lot of us haven't done our inner work to understand that we are enough, whether you're in a relationship or not. And so we don't have to do the play game. A lot of us are choosing to do the play game for the fear of missing out, the fear of being lonely, the fear of, just maybe, right? That potential. We lean into that potential. Well, just maybe. Instead of actually leaning into what he's exhibiting, what actions he's actually showing towards you. We write the story that, well, maybe if I give him the opportunity to show up.
I appreciate you mentioning the loneliness factor. I think that a lot of ladies got to really recognize that they would rather do something or have someone or than have nothing. I actually appreciate you saying that. So I want to kind of move on here to the competition thing here. But Garrett says, what's wrong with her picking up a tad? She's got a job. She can pay her own way. What are your thoughts about that? Is that feminine behavior? Is that sassiness from men these days? Or what's your thoughts about that?
I don't. Okay, so this one goes twofold for me. On the first date, at least the first date, I'm actually going to say at least the first two, but specifically the first date, I'm absolutely saying that he should pick up the tab. I am. I might be old school in that, whatever. But the point is, I feel that he should pick up the tab because, again, I am looking for a leadership, right? And then, come on, man. Come on, man. That's what's happening. And men, as you pointed out, men are still making more than women. Okay.
Now you want. Okay, go ahead.
But you see my eyes, Doc, really? Because that's what you pointed out. But no, on a serious note, I really go drink a drink.
Go ahead.
I think that a lot of us could actually do ourselves a disservice by only waiting for him to pay. I really do believe after a few dates, a woman should offer to pay without feeling any type of way. And or because I think that a lot of us are missing said conversations because maybe this is, makes you feel a type of way to have a financial conversation on the first date. But what's wrong with having a conversation so the both of you are on the same page? If he picks up dinner, would you be okay with picking up the tip? Or would you be pissed off that he asked you to pick up the tip?
Are you telling ladies this? And what are the age groups of the ladies that you mostly work with? Second question first. What is the age group that you're usually working with?
So I'm gonna say late 30s up to about 50.
Late 30s to 50s.
Yeah.
And are you telling them this? And what is their reception to telling them it's okay to pick up the tab?
So I do advise this / suggest this. Everybody's not always on board. I mean, that's just the reality. Everybody's not gonna, take what I say and run with it, which is understandable. You have your own brain. But I will say that because most of us are not just dating to date, there has to be a different way to look at things, like from the longevity standpoint. And if for whatever reason, this particular man can't bring the finances or financial stability to the relationship at some point in the relationship, are you just going to run away? So yes, you're thinking about the first couple of dates, but me, I'm always longer mindset. So I don't think it's a big deal to pick up the tab, because are you just only looking for the dates, or are you looking for long term? And in long term, that's where I talked about marriage being a piece of paper and people just willing to throw it in. Life is going to life with all of us. And so if life is life, and once you get past the dating stage and y'all in a relationship, you going to run away?
So what's their answer to that when you say you're looking at the long term, he's not able to do it the first date, and what's their answer to that? I mean, they're obviously going through with it, right? They just resign themselves to saying, I just got to pay these dates, and I'd just rather have a piece of a man than no man, or whatever. What's their response to that?
Their response is so usually we have to do some peeling back of the onion so they can have a deeper understanding. No, seriously, because a lot of us have this ingrained mentality that only men do this, only men do that, and what a man should do when he's bringing to the table, not realizing that women are working now. So we are financially contributing to the household just as much, if not more, than the man. So it cannot just be only one income, although it can work for some people. But for most of us, it can't just work for one person. So what are they actually saying? There is some hesitation. So like I said, we're peeling back the onion so they can get a deeper understanding of why they should lean into this. Now, at the end of the day, they're making their own choice, whether they lean in or not. Right? Some people got to keep bumping their head before they learn a lesson.
I think that, and tell me if you think I'm wrong. I think the modern day ladies are really in a battle with their own biology, right? They wanted to boss up, they wanted to become these high-powered moguls and everything else. And so now, but they're running into this biological imperative that they want a man who's going to be a provider. So they're running into this, right? So now you got to peel back the onion. In other words, to me, what I'm hearing is you got to convince these ladies that this is okay and this is the new way it's going and here's how the economies work. You got to have all this deconstructing type of conversations to get them to say it's okay and say they don't feel a type of way. So my question is, after you've done all this work and we've had these conversations and they run into this, are they still animalistically attracted to this dude?
Again, is it 100% across the board? No, but I will say the majority.
No.
It's never. But is it ever 100% across the board in anything?
Well, I'm talking about the majority average, right? It's not 100%. Yeah. But you're running into ladies. I'm assuming that you're, keeping up with the literature, surveys, whatever's going on out there. Do ladies really want this? It just seems to me to be a fight and a conflict about what they really want. The two things that they want to be boss chicks. They want to be this, and we're going to get into the competition thing, right? They want to be this, but at the same time, they want to be able to turn off the masculinity and become these sweet, docile creatures who come home, don't have to think, let the man plan out everything. Oh yeah, and I mean he's going to pay the vast majority of the bills. What?
But okay, so I don't believe that that's what's actually happening. I think that there is a lot of lack of the deeper conversations that need to be had in order for a relationship, because now we're past the dating stage. So in order for a relationship to continue on and to be sustainable, we have to be big girls and big boys and have these deeper conversations, and including but not limited to the roles in the household. Because again, I may be bomb at finances and you may suck as my male counterpart. Can you be a leader in a different area? Because I know a lot of times when we talk about men as the leader, we usually are leaning more toward the financial side, but him being a leader doesn't have to only be in the financial side. Where else can you show up as a leader? Because
you tell me. I'm not a woman. I don't. You tell me what place would be satisfactory for a man to show up as a leader, and he does. I'm assuming we're saying absent protection and provision because you guys got that. What place can they be showing up as a leader? that you would be ready to rip his clothes off?
I think, okay, are you asking me specifically?
I'm asking you specifically,
Okay.
and the lady, and based on your vast range of knowledge of the ladies that you've coached, counseled, and all that. And ladies in the chat can also chime in this as well. What other areas can a man show leadership in, and you still be ready to rip his clothes off and be animalistically attracted to this man?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with advice. Him leaning into giving me that advice, keeping me on an even keel so I'm not going overboard, specifically if I am the financial one, right? The stable one financially in the relationship. Him making sure, yeah, his advice. His advice. Absolutely. Okay. You ain't buying it. I can see it on your face, but it's okay.
I'm not buying it, but
okay.
I appreciate,
right.
but I appreciate you answering the question there. What I don't understand this is Gina 789. I've been on the opposite side of money since the 4th grade. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, and I can't get to everyone's chats here, and I do appreciate y'all chiming in. Last name first says, so Dr. L, you feel a woman should be punished with lack of provision on a date because she has job and education? I don't think I've said that. I think I'm saying is that there's a conflict that's going on here, because you want a guy who's going to protect and provide. He should be able to show that on the first date. And yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I don't think I've said that. I don't think I've said that. So I'm just trying to figure out how men navigate this particular space here. How does a woman turn off the masculinity on a first couple of dates? Well, let's stick with that. First couple of dates, she's a high-powered woman. She's got job, education. She's got all this stuff. How does she turn it off? What advice do you give to ladies so they can turn that off?
So it's coming up with some type of ritual, if you will, to make the shift. So for some of my clients, it is their playlist, whatever their playlist is, to make them feel flirty and fun, right? For some people, it may be journaling to get said stuff out of their head. Others, it's having a glass or two or whatever of wine just to relax themselves. So, but the point is some type of ritual to get you to be more flirty, fun, open, allowing for connection to be made.
Okay. And do you think that that's an effective strategy? Do you think that that works? Do you have ladies said, hey, yeah, I've tried journaling, I've tried listening to music, I've tried glass of wine, bottle of wine, a box of wine.
Whatever. Okay. Well, okay. We don't want to be too loosey goosey. We don't want to be too loosey goosey. 1, 2 max is enough. But to answer your question, yes, they're finding that this is helping them to get out of their own head, get out of their own way, because the journaling may be, maybe they're ready to literally cuss somebody out from the job, right? And a lot of times we take this energy into our households. And on the date as well, right? We take it out there. And so a way to really just find a way to relax before you go out with said person. Because believe it or not, that stuff does show up. They might not say, oh, you had a bad day today. They might not do that. But you might be cutting them off, or you think that you're being, fun, but literally you're being curt, or just making them feel a certain type of way. And the way is more where there is defensiveness, like, well, I don't know what's actually happening, but I'm gonna let you do you, right? I'm gonna let you do you in the date, whatever the case may be. So yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to the competition thing. Ladies are competing, right? The guy says, oh, listen, I got a house down here. I got this. I bought a new car. I got this promotion. I got this degree. I got this. I got that. And the ladies are saying that they have that as well. And why are they doing that? And how do you address that with your clients?
So a lot of times women don't understand why they're doing that. And a lot of times they're doing this because of something that they saw it worked for them in childhood, like performing. Maybe they had some emotionally unintelligent parent or parents in the household, and they noticed that they only got rewarded or praised for doing said thing. Maybe it's getting good grades or the cleanup, whatever the thing is, they're performing in order to be seen, in order to be heard. So there's some of that that's actually happened. But they're not realizing that a lot of these things that we're showcasing in adulthood comes from our childhood. Not everybody, but yeah, a lot of us is coming from our childhood. And then there is the single parent homes where there was no father figure was there. Again, not everybody's story, but a lot of stories.
What would that do for, what would a father figure do to help to combat this need to perform? Or maybe I'm misunderstanding. What?
Okay, so I'll just say feeling like she was rejected by her dad.
Oh, okay.
Or the father figure, period. And so maybe even why she's attracting those emotionally unavailable men as well, where some of this competition. Go ahead.
No, I just want to understand what you, go ahead.
And then even the internalized beliefs where she was believing where I can't depend on the man.
Okay. Believing that she can't depend on the man, not having a father figure in her home, and believing that she has to perform some way. And so she takes that on a date. I get that. I think I can understand that from a place where, okay, I don't have this, and I got to perform. I got to do this because I can't depend on the man. I'm going to go out there into the world, get a degree, start a business, do whatever, and then next thing you know, she takes that on a date, and the guy starts talking about his, and so does she not notice she says that she doesn't know she's doing that?
Not usually. She's not. She's unaware. Okay, she knows that she's like the words that are coming out of her mouth, but she don't realize that she is in competition mode by saying the things that she's saying, kind of like one upping him.
Does she? But she's doing that because she probably has to do that at work, right? We're comparing resumes, right? I got this resume. Well, yeah, I got this too. Does she think? Does a woman who's doing this think that it's going to impress the man? And that what she's listing off on her resume, I'm going to impress this man, and I'm going to be seen as better than the other woman who's doesn't have these things. Does she think that?
Partially. Again, because I don't think that she really realized what's actually happening. She's doing it because it's like, well, I have those things too. Like, you're not impressing me by saying that you have a car, I have a car, or a specific car, or you're not.
The guy is not impressing the woman. When he says I got a car, she's like, I'm not impressed by that.
I'm not impressed because I have a car. Like, you have this luxury car, so do I. Oh, you have this home, so do I. Oh, you have, so do I. Whatever so again, she's unaware that she is in competition mode. She's not in connection mode. And again, she's waiting for the shoe to drop, per se, because her beliefs are another thing that's actually messing her up. Her beliefs about like that whole story that somebody told her and she took it on as her own, as in, I don't need a man, or I can't depend on men. So those stories that have been ingrained in her, now she's owning them as if they are hers, and she's walking in that. And in walking in that, she's holding herself back from getting the very thing that she actually wants.
Okay, that's deep right there. So you have to, as you said before, peel back the onion. Are you successful in getting women to say this strategy that you're doing is not working? Is that successful?
That they're doing, that the woman that my clients are doing.
Yes, they're in competition mode instead of connection mode, which I like that statement. They're in competition mode instead of connection mode, but they think that the competition mode is the connection mode, correct?
Right. Yes. Yeah. But it's totally not.
Totally not.
No.
Stop doing that, ladies.
No. It's totally not. It's totally not. And as V always say, right, our girl V, bringing her dick to the party. Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. You're not paying attention. You don't want to do this. You don't think that you're doing it, but yes, sis, my baby, you're doing it. You're doing it. And men don't care about your resume. Not like you believe that he does. In that way, he don't care about your resume. I heard somebody else, and you might have played this earlier. I'm not remember what he talking about, the piece and the piece.
Yeah, I'll play that right now for everyone.
Okay,
play right now.
I'll be quiet.
Okay, so I did have a couple of videos lined up that we can get to, so this is a good segue. So here's a video that comes from Trey Kearney. She was on the podcast a few weeks ago, and so this is from her.
That says, "Would you date you?" In my book that says, "Would you date you?"
Oops.
And the question of what you bring to the table. So here it is. You ask the average woman today what you bring to the table. She's going to give you a list of accolades. I graduated such and such in this. I make this amount of money. I did this, and she's going to give you all her accolades. When the average man is looking for two things: can you be my peace, and can you give me a piece? And if you can't do that, peace.
Wow. Wow. Ladies, did y'all hear that? The average man is looking for two things.
Fellas, am I wrong? Can you be my piece, and can I get a piece? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's really about. I need peace, and I need a piece. Let's keep it real.
Keep it real.
Bill.
Listen, at the end of the day, we got to make something happen. And if I can't have no peace and I can't get a piece, then peace out.
That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
The brothers is throwing it out there. Ladies, listen, I just really want the women to listen, because we twist stuff around. Like you said, Daryl, we give this long laundry list of what I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. And I want the ladies to hear it was two things that the men wanted. And we can talk about other stuff. But ladies, did you hear what they just said?
I'm looking at my screen here, and I'm seeing it's kind of blurry, so I apologize for that. Having some internet issues as far as that, but you want to comment on that? Please go ahead.
Yeah. So he just mentioned men want to know if the woman could be his piece, and they want a piece, and hopefully all of us are mature enough to know the second piece. I've heard this a time or 50 from men, and you know what? I think it absolutely has some validation to it, for sure. And I have to wholeheartedly agree, because, you know, a lot of times I look at movies and I look at them in a different way, specifically when they have scenes where the woman or wife is in the house and the kids and they going crazy, whatever the thing is inside the home, and he's just pulling up from work, but he don't go in right away. He sit in the car and he does whatever he's doing in the car, but he's usually having an internal dialogue to say, I don't want to go in here. I don't want to go in here. And or there's other times where they find something to keep them away from the household, whether it's right after work or whatever, hanging out with the friends, the guys, whatever, because most of us want our house to be peaceful, to be our sanctuary. And so if I can't go and have peace in my sanctuary, I'm going to find somewhere else to go, or it's going to take me a long time to go inside.
Why don't women understand that? And not everyone. I'm not gonna keep playing this game about all women, but why is that so? Again, this is why I think that ladies are just in conflict with their biology. I just like why don't you understand that? We don't want masculine energy fighting with me, arguing with me. I had a long day. Why is this hard to understand?
I don't think that it's hard to understand this particular thing. What I believe is that most of us are unaware that I just need peace when I come through the door. So I'm fighting the world, and now I got to come home and fight you too. No, that ain't really what I'm trying to really walk into on a regular basis. Another piece to that is for the ladies that are doing and not giving the peace, if you will. I'm never going to say not have the conversation. What I am going to suggest is that you make sure that it's at a better time, because just because you've been thinking about this thing, you want to get it off your chest, doesn't mean the timing is right and that he's open to hear what you have to say. We got to be better at reading the room. We got to be better at reading the room before we have said conversations, specifically the difficult ones, the ones where it's going to take a lot of brain energy to come up with a response. So I'm not agitated, so I can actually think and give you an intelligent answer. But I'm just getting off. Your timing may just suck. Let's be real. Your timing may be sucking because you've been thinking about this stuff all day, all week, whatever the thing is. He ain't. That's your stuff. So we taking a lot of our stuff and putting it and projecting it, as they say, onto our partner. It's not fair. It's not fair. We know life ain't fair, but it's not fair to do. So a lot more women have to be aware of the timing. Absolutely have the conversation. Just make sure the timing, it works for the both of you.
Very good. Give me like 2 seconds. I want to try to fix this blur here. Hold
okay.
on.
Y'all going ham in the comments. At Garrett, you said, Marshaun, that's what men say. And I don't know if you could type it in there, Garrett, but what is the feedback that you're getting? That's what men say. So I'm assuming they're not listening.
No. I wanted to get to some of these comments and what they were going on about. You're right; they're going ham in the comments section here. And what I wanted to get to was they were talking about. I'm not going to be able to find the exact comments, but they were talking about this whole approach thing. I think Glorious Love had brought this up. This whole approach thing. Go up to a guy and say what it is, and say that you want to talk to him. Go for a man to go up to a woman and say, I think you're pretty, gorgeous, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you right now that don't work. I'm going to tell you right now that don't work. But ladies keep saying this, and the feedback from every man, I'm sure they would all agree with me, that don't work. So the guys have fallen back, and I'm talking about a slow role reversal here, where guys, women are making more money, they know what they want, great, but the guys are then becoming standoffish. We got Me Too, we got the all these different lawsuits going on all over the place. Guys are feeling as if they can't approach in a parking lot. Women would choose the bear over them, and all this other stuff that we're seeing. And listen, this isn't just on the internet, right? I've experienced this stuff myself, right? Holding doors open for women, and now, so the women are becoming more assertive, more aggressive. This is causing men to say, okay, I'm just going to fall back. You got women proposing to men, asking them out. So, I mean, this is a tough environment that we're dealing with here. No.
Mm-hmm. So can you explain the Me Too? Can you explain that a little bit more?
The Me Too movement, as far as women who were claiming that they were assaulted at work or harassed in some way, having to sleep their way to the top, and as a result of that, men had to, or everybody in the company had to go through different diversity trainings or sensitivity trainings, sexual harassment trainings, and as a result of that, they said, I'm not going to talk to a woman at work, and I'm going to scale back in a number of different ways. Mm-hmm. Mike Pence was often, former vice president, was often teased about he didn't have any meeting with any woman unless the door was open or unless his wife was there. And so he was laughed at. But then a lot of other CEOs have talked about this. And I've read columns and in different newspapers where a lot of men are approaching that. And the women feel as if this is unnecessary. but it's absolutely necessary. So it's not just, if you take that corporate dating world or corporate interactions and you put that into real life scenarios at a bar, or don't approach me at a bar, don't approach me at the gym, don't approach me when I'm grocery shopping. Why? How dare you? I just want to be in here to get my groceries and leave. Why are you talking to me? So there's this whole system that seems to be that men are bad and want to scale back. Are you unaware of anything I just mentioned, or?
Yeah, I'm unaware of this. I'm gonna have to look into this more. I hadn't heard this.
Oh, okay. But this is a vast phenomenon that a lot of men, I'm sure, would be able to back me up on. And then Gina here kind of said something. I don't know. One of her comments was that she had moved from LA to a small town in North Carolina, and she noticed a drastic change in how men approached, and she had to be more. She was approaching men because the guys in North Carolina weren't as aggressive. I think that's what her comment was.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. I can't find her exact comment. They've been going so fast in here. Yeah. So is there anything else that I missed that you want to talk about as far as the competition here? Is there anything else?
No. Nah.
Okay. Okay. So, and you've given us some things to think about as far as how women can unwind from this type of thing, competition. Well, you told us about, in particular, you told us about how to stop being masculine. Is there anything that they can do to stop the competition type of thing? Maybe I missed that. What can they do specifically to say, to think to themselves and say, let me stop trying to one up this guy. What should they do about that?
So this is just a part of a deeper part of communication, which is just listening, giving them the opportunity to fully express, and asking follow-up questions to what he's actually saying. So that you have all this stuff. You don't have to say it. At some point, it will come out that you have all this stuff, but it doesn't have to come out in that moment where you have this, I have this, you have this, I have this, right? It could just be, well, okay, you have this. What made you want to get that? Right? So let's go back to the luxury car. What did you like about the Say It luxury car that made you lean in and purchase that car? Asking more questions about what he's talking about. And flipping the conversation, because there's that too. That could be a second thing. Instead of you going down that rabbit hole, you can acknowledge what he's saying. Like, oh, that's great. Oh, whatever the whatever the acknowledgement sentence is, but then changing the subject, because that's not something that you specifically need to talk about right then and there, especially on the first couple of dates, about all of the deeper things. And I know that I'm in the minority where I don't think that you should really be bringing up a whole lot of your financial on the first couple of dates, because you don't even know this person. You don't even know if you want to continue on with this person. Let's get to deeper conversations to figure out if you even want to continue to have another date with this person.
So you don't think women should do that? Or you don't think men should do that? Or you
don't think either should be talking to, okay, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You don't think either?
I don't think either should be talking about, like, specifically about how much and all of the materialistic things that they have, because at a certain age, most of us do have some of those things, right? Maybe not all, but most of us have some of those things, and traveling, all of that all that stuff. But if you're looking for a connection, we have to talk about deeper things in order to get to the connection. So the superficial, what you're bringing to the table, doesn't get you to the connection.
Okay. Thank you for that. Last thing first is, why does mentioning accomplishments always have to be villainized for women? Is there ever a space for her to just be proud of her achievements and the man to be happy for her? What say you to that particular question?
So what I'll say to this one is, I don't think that it needs to be villainized. And if that's the way I was coming off, that's not what I was trying to do. What I am
that's probably at me, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Here's what I'll say then. What I will point out is that I don't think that it needs to be villainized, but there is a time and place for everything. And I know you're asking, when is it time for her to do those things? with your people, your circle of people that really already know who you are. They're not going to take it as you bragging, or trying to one up them. They actually know who you are, and maybe you worked and they understand how hard you work to achieve, say, accomplishment or achievement. Keep it with your inner circle or those people that you know are going to champion you. Everybody
but she wants to share with this new guy, right? This is the competition aspect. I want to share with this new guy. Hey, listen, I bring something to the table too, right?
But that's the problem. That's the problem.
I know.
That is the problem. We have to move away from all of this superficial stuff, because that's why so many of us are not in healthy relationships. I'm not just gonna say relationship, a healthy relationship where it's actually leading towards something, and you're trying to leave said a legacy. You're trying to build something together, because we're competing with one another. And it's not helping either side. We're not coming closer together because of this underlying competition that we feel we need to have.
Gina says, so I wasted my fertile years trying to get accepted. As a result, I enrolled myself back to school to be a doctor. Do you think that a lot of ladies are so worried about their careers and getting these achievements that they're wasting their fertile years or trying to have babies at 40, 45 instead of, are you seeing a lot of that?
I don't want to say wasted, right? Wasted my fertile years. I don't want to say that. Although I do think that it does and has played a part. Yes, I do. But I don't think that so let me actually talk about me, because I didn't have my daughter until I was 39. For me, it wasn't because I was wasting my years per se. I was, again, trying to figure out, because I already talked about all of this stuff. I was trying to figure out myself, working on my insecurities. I was doing a lot of the inner work. And because I was getting myself ready, the years are still passing by. So I was getting myself ready. But I don't think I was, me personally, I don't think I was wasting my time. I don't think I was wasting my time. And so some people may feel that they're wasting your time. But my question would be to ask yourself, why did you waste your time on said person for so many years? What lessons, right? Because, let me finish that. What lessons did you not learn?
Okay. All right. Let's see. Going back a little bit here. East Point says, I agree with that. This is why many women and some men are getting swindled out of money. Don't share your personal finances. What type of personal finances y'all sharing? I mean, I don't maybe I'm completely doing something wrong here on dates, because I am, nobody's offering to buy me coffees or dates or anything like that. So I'm definitely doing something wrong with that. And second of all, what kind of information y'all sharing on personal finances on dates? Y'all showing each other bank statements? What's going on with that? I don't understand that. Help me to understand that.
I don't think it's the actual bank statements, although hell, maybe it is for some people, but I don't think it's mainly that.
I see your tax returns.
No, Jesus, no. I think it's more of again, because we're talking about things that really don't matter in the beginning.
But doesn't that matter though? And I'm not talking about sharing tax information and all that. We're making jokes about that. But I'm talking about, you ought to know what this guy has a job. This is leadership stuff, right? Where's he work at? He's got a job. What kind of car does he drive? That's going to show something. Or even if he doesn't have a good car that's 5 years old or whatever, maybe he's just frugal with his money, or I was playing with some stocks. What do you think about that? You have stock? I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that. To me, it's like it would be a better filtering method. Maybe I could be wrong though. Again, I'm doing a lot of stuff wrong here on dates, so you got to tell me.
I believe that some of these things. Okay, so what you're saying is sort of a mature conversation. What we were talking about before was more of, I got this, sort of like the bragging. And even with all of the bravado that goes with the bragging, it's not humble. It's not being revealed. It's not, oh, what, we just happen to have this conversation. And maybe there is some strategic planning where you have some questions that you want to ask. And I highly recommend that. But you don't want it to turn into an interview, right? So having some strategic questions, absolutely. But you're not going out on the date to talk about all of the things that you have per se. If it comes up naturally, great. If it comes up naturally, great. But again, if you're going back and forth about all the stuff that you're doing, how is that helping?
Okay. All right. Tiana says, dear Black women, the older and more educated you are, the more you realize you don't have much in common with your male counterparts. Ooh. She's speaking specifically about Black men there. And then she says divest. So what are your thoughts about Black women having to date out to find what they're looking for? Particularly, as she said, older and more educated.
Mm-hmm. In my humble opinion, this one is to each his own. I'm not for it, but I'm also not against it. If you feel that that's what, you know, the route that you want to go, which is divesting, then you do you. Then you do you. If you want to stay in the community and have a Black woman, Black man, Black kids, blah, blah, blah. Again, that's a choice that we're also making too. That's literally it. It's your choice.
Okay. INC Intelligent Neanderthal Caveman says, do you date a man based on what he has material wise, or because there's a spark you feel for him? Which one do you suggest that women do, and which one do you think more women are doing, et cetera, et cetera?
Do you date a man based on? Okay, so they should date mostly on the compatibility. If that means spark, then okay. But I'm saying compatibility of the person. At some point, you should know. Like you're saying, okay, so in the beginning, if we're talking about just that I'm a manager at whatever, okay, or an executive at whatever. Okay, fine, if you want to just throw that out there. But we don't need to go down the list of all of the things that because you have this high-paying position that you got from this thing in the first couple of dates. So I'm going to say compatibility. At some point, you absolutely should know what this person is at financially on both sides.
Very good. Very good. Tiana is here trying to get these Black women to jump ship here. Dear Black women, aren't you sick of dimming your light just to date Mary down?
But who's doing? Okay. So my question, because I think some of these things come from our belief systems, right? And so I remember when I was out, so I live in San Diego, and the population of Black people is really minority. I think we're only at about 6%, and that's because we have the military here. So with that being said, I only dated Black men. But when I was out in my social circles, I would always have women to ask, how do you keep dating these Black men? Because I keep getting a lot of other men to ask me out, and I found myself mainly dating other men than Black men. And I firmly believe what I'm about to say, which is my belief system was that Black men wanted me, so I attracted Black men. And that's all I dated, Black men. And as I get better at selecting, my selecting process got better. The quality of Black men got better.
All right, let's talk about that, because there's this whole red pill space, and they talk about that women need to choose better. Let's talk about the selection process that you had before and that you had after. What did you do after that made your selection process better?
So some of the things that I'm suggesting, which is would ask questions based off of my core values, based off of the things that I would love for my relationship to have. So specifically, it could be, I'm a God-fearing woman. So I totally want a man that is a God-fearing man. And not just because you go to church are you a God-fearing man, but that's a different conversation, right? So I wanted to have deeper conversations about the way that I saw my life. Like, what did he think about marriage? How does he look at women, and what does he think about relationships? So I'm not setting myself up for wasting all of this time, energy, and effort, or even my fertile years on somebody that we're not going down the same path. And I've had plenty of men to actually tell me that they weren't looking for what I was looking for. That's okay. That's okay. So I ain't got to waste my time, energy, effort. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good. Perfect.
Did you offer to pay for the dates in those situations?
Absolutely. Okay. I would pay for the dates. That's why I'm really confused on you and who you attracted and how come they not paying for these dates. Now, again, it was never the first date, Doc. It was never the first date. It was never the first date.
All right.
But going.
I'm doing something wrong. I gotta go to you for counseling because I'm doing something wrong here. So High Vibe says, so in a relationship, women shouldn't expect our partner to celebrate accomplishments. I don't think that at all. I think what we're talking about is leading with that, or in the first 1 or 2 dates. Yes. But certainly if you're in a relationship and you got a degree, you got a promotion, you started a business, you should be celebrating that. And if a guy doesn't do that, there's something wrong with that dude, right? So I don't know anyone who's suggesting that. So
no, neither one of us are suggesting that. You absolutely should be, have your cheerleader. You should be cheerleading when he makes his accomplishments, but he should also be cheerleading when you make your accomplishments. Absolutely. But again, that's in the relationship, not on the first couple of dates, and now you got a laundry list of all the things that you have. That's a no.
Now, what about the laundry list? I know, right? Wow, that vast, yeah. So what about the laundry list of necessities, desires? Well, it's probably necessities at this point that women are saying that they need from men. He's gotta be so tall, make so much money. His phallus length got to be so long. He's got to be able to, last 3 hours in the bedroom. He's got to be able to.
Oh, wait, hold on now. Stop that. Who the hell doing 3 hours? No.
Have you not been paying attention to the Diddy trial? I mean, just go ahead. Anyway.
Actually, I haven't. You know what? That's a different conversation. I need to tap in, but no, I have not. No.
Okay.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted. Sorry.
No, you're good. So, but they got this laundry list of he's got to be emotionally intelligent. He's got to be this. He's got to talk to his mother twice a week. He's got to be there for me. He's got to support me. He's got all these different type of stuff that ladies have versus what we've already acknowledged that men just say, listen, just give me something to eat every once in a while and give me a piece every once in a while. I'm good. Right. So what about this laundry list of things that women are requiring? Is that in particular, when women are educated and doing their boss up thing, is that laundry list causing them to overlook a vast majority of things? Because again, they want companionship. Go ahead.
Simple answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even gonna add in where some of the women, even on this platform, got one of their homeboys in friendship zone that could totally be they're the one.
Ooh. Well, what are you defining as a friendship zone?
You ain't giving them no time. Okay, so you calling him, you're able to open up emotionally with you. He's able to have all these deep conversations. He's there for you whenever you have something. He's your cheerleader, but he may not be as tall as you want him to be. So you friend zone him. Not realizing that he could be literally the best thing since sliced bread to you, for you.
Why do you think that that's a thing? We talked about your parents, your parents, my parents, grandparents, all of our grandparents. Why is that a thing now? Why is it now that they're saying, this guy's only 5'11"? If he's not 6'2", then why is they so comfortable making that distinction?
You know what? I don't know that answer at all. I really don't, because I've never subscribed to this laundry list of things that are superficial and superficial because he can't change them. The money he can change, the height he can't, the skin color he can't, the whatever that you're basing this off, he can't change that stuff. However, how is he treating you? How does he make you feel? He's supporting you emotionally. He might even support you financially in a way, because he might be the homeboy that you can call and say, hey, you know what? I'm kind of short this month. But because he's too short in your eyes. Or let's be real, because maybe you are the breadwinner. He ain't making as much. You just automatically disqualify him and you keep him in the friend zone. And I remember, what's her name? The actress, Viola Davis, actually said this was one of what happened to her and the husband that she's with, Julius. For a long time, he was in a friend zone. And I don't remember all of the intricate details about the relationship, but I remember they were having this one conversation where she was just saying, like, man, I'm just looking for somebody to love me. I just want somebody to do X, Y, and Z. And he was like, well, I love you. And she was like, no, come on, man. I'm for real. Like somebody that loves me, that sees me, that does all of the things. And he's like, that's me. And after more conversations and all this other stuff, but she finally was like, you're right. You've been here with me for X amount of years. For a long time, he's been behind the scenes and we ain't know nothing about him. And she finally saw the light, if you will. And now they've been married. It happens a lot.
Well, I'm going to critique that and say it shouldn't be happening. Men should move on. Why would you stay in somebody's friend zone for 20 years and she's having these escapades with other people and you just sitting there and just twiddling your thumb, listening to her complain about other dudes? I mean, isn't that chumpish, simpish? I mean, I would. You expect him? You respect a man who's doing that?
Listen, to each his own. To each his own. Because he obviously has a tolerance for it that you clearly do not. And that's okay. That's okay.
I clearly do not.
Clearly do not. Clearly do not have the tolerance for it. And that, but again, you know where you're at. He was willing to, and maybe he wasn't necessarily waiting around to say, I'm gonna get my chance. I'm gonna get my chance with Viola. Maybe he was. I don't know him like that. But I will say that it seems to have worked out for him and for her. And I'll leave it at that.
All right. I'm not advancing symbology here. So Gina 789 says he got to be able to sustain himself, take showers, have clean nails, wear cologne, don't drive on a spare tire, got a car that's newer than mine's. What? Brush his teeth, not overweight. Is this, I mean, it can't be scraping the bottom of the barrel like that, right? I mean, wow. And then have the strength to walk around Walmart and not use the scooter, have clean shoes, laugh at my jokes, clean, good in bed 3 times a week, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Is this really the requirements? I mean,
that's what Gina 789 said.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Having the strength to walk around Walmart and not use the scooter. Gina, who are you attracting, baby? Because
this is what I'm saying.
The type of men that I've seen in them scooters, no. That's what I'm gonna do is no.
So this is what I'm saying. Every time we have these conversations, and then somebody types this stuff in here, like I can't. Is this really why y'all disqualifying dudes? I mean, I can't imagine that this is. But again, Big L is doing something wrong on these dates. I'm coming to you for some sessions because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. So maybe I need to get a scooter, just start huffing and puffing, and I at least can get a date. You know.
But is that the type of man that you, man? I ain't even about to play this game with you.
Listen, I think I'm a good dude. I just okay. All right. Mackie Simeon says, Gina, you have to find a better way to meet men. Hygiene and grooming are fundamentals that adults should have in order. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
It doesn't mean Viola's husband wasn't dating other women. So they both. If he's dating other women, and he's still on the phone with her, listening to her emotional dumpology, emotional baggage, then that's an issue, man. That's an issue because you're not fully invested in the woman that you're dating. So, anyway, all right, let me play a couple more videos and then we'll call it. You know, are you good for time? I don't want to hold you up all night.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be on here all night either. But but no, let's see the video.
Okay.
How come men say they want a woman with their together, but then when they get that, they get intimidated and leave for a lesser value woman? So I find that a lot of times men love the accomplishments of women until it challenges their own. And so sometimes you'll get with men who are used to leading the charge, they're used to being the most successful, and then they come across an ambitious woman like you who in the beginning they are very in support of. They want you to do well, they want you to succeed, they're championing you behind the scene. But the moment you start to slide past them a little bit, the moment that it seems like you're creating more success than they have the ability to create, they become really intimidated by that level of success, right? And oftentimes, the other side of that I find is sometimes the successful woman is the challenge for a certain type of men. It feeds their ego. So sometimes they just want to prove that they can get a woman like you because they're looking for the angle to break you down. This is really a game for some men. They're looking for a way to get in so they can say, oh, I got her, but let me also attempt to destroy her. And then I'm going to go and get the woman who I feel like I can qualify for easily, because they don't want to have to do the work for somebody who is personally developed, professionally developed, financially stable. It's a mirror in their face that says, I have to step my stuff up in order to qualify for you. So instead of doing that, I'm going to point out all of your insecurities. I'm going to break you down to your simplest form. And then how come men say they want a woman with their together?
What are your thoughts about that?
I don't really subscribe to what she just said. I just don't think that, man, that number one, there was so much stuff that was said, but I just don't believe that men are intentionally looking to capture, if you will, the accomplished woman only to break her down. Like what is he getting from that?
I completely agree, and I thought that there was the biggest load of garbage probably on the internet that I've ever heard. It was absolute nonsense, and any woman who would listen to that and think that this is what men are intentionally doing is just absolutely delusional. And the guy that was on here in the lower corner here,
but then when they get that,
this guy right here is some kind of coach, and he's just grinning and shaking his head in approval.
That's all I'm saying.
Sorry about that. I just think that was. I just am floored that this seemed to be an intelligent way of responding to what could be going on, and is that I think that I think that the vast majority of men would say the issue with a woman going past him isn't the fact that she's going past him, whatever that would mean. It would be, you tell me if you agree with this, the attitude and everything else we've talked about on the show thus far. The attitude that comes with it, the competition, I've got this, I've got that, I'm a boss chick. The energy and the attitude is what the vast majority of men would say is the problem. Where this woman got her thought process from is beyond me. But what are your thoughts about that?
I agree exactly with what you're saying. I just, even when she was speaking, I was actually kind of like, my stomach was turning a little bit. Like, again, what would an intelligent man who say that he's looking for more, what is he getting out of this? Yeah, there are some people that are going to play games, but the vast majority, just because you are an accomplished woman, he's looking to break you down. Like, where's everybody getting all this time and energy to put into doing this? Like, what are you gaining from doing this? And I really hope that she hasn't run across a plethora of men that's done this to her, because it sounded like this was some type of personal experience for herself. And she didn't say it. I just felt like it was more coming from a place of, I know this personally because this has happened to me.
I think she was trying to understand what happened to her, why these things happened to me. And when guys,
to herself?
Yes, the woman who's speaking, I think that she probably experienced this, guys cutting her off, dwindling off. And maybe if she did do a post-relationship interview, she internalized whatever was said. Of course, I don't know these people at all, but I'm just guessing. Just like I think she was guessing as to, this guy just wanted to break me down. No, he's telling you about yourself. I'm assuming she did a post analysis and said, you know what? Okay, what's up with this? Well, he said, listen, you know, I don't like your energy, this, that, and the other. And she took that as he wants to break me down, he wants to humble me, and he wants to make my account. Same thing that's been said that last names first is kind of hinting at a couple of times here and saying, I'm not calling her out. I'm just saying that this is her philosophy, and she put it up here again that you know, sometimes the accomplishments are downplayed, and guys aren't impressed by that. And when we tell you that, it can come off as I don't like your accomplishments. I don't like what you're doing. No, yeah, or I don't care about them. No, what we're saying is that those things aren't impressive to us, particularly to successful men. Why? Because I'm going to pay the vast majority of the bills. You still want me to take you out to dinner. You're still going to want me to pick you up in my car. Don't matter what kind of car you have. You're still going to want me to pick you up in my car, take you to these restaurants, have a good time. I'm going to put the vast majority of the bill. So why are you telling me all this type of stuff? So that's where we're at. And I think that the woman in the video was kind of demonstrating and trying to put together why men would not want to see her this way and try to break her down. I hope I'm.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
So, all right. So the next video we're going to play, and then we'll probably get out of here. So the next video is about a woman who intentionally was breaking her husband down.
The top 3 ways that I emasculated my ex-husband were control, criticism, and comparison. I controlled everything. I controlled our business. Anytime he tried to lead or work with employees, it was never good enough, which just leads into criticism. I criticized everything he did. Nothing he could do was good enough. And I was always comparing me to him. I was expecting me to be him, and I didn't allow him to be the man that he was because it wasn't enough for me. Comparison and perfection were my standard, and it completely destroyed his confidence, his desire to lead, his desire to show up. It completely shut him down, and I played a big part in that. Now, he chose to be shut down, and he chose to not stand up. However, I played a big role in that, in emasculating my husband and making him not show up. And then I complained that he didn't show up and that he was apathetic and didn't do anything.
How come men say they want a woman with their shit together?
Sorry about that. My producer's an idiot. So go ahead.
When the video was playing, what was coming to my mind is, why is she smiling about this? Like, is this something that she's still happy to do again to next husband or next boyfriend? If you're aware of it, I just felt like there wasn't any empathy in, like, dang, this is how I was messing up. Like, to me, it didn't seem like there was any, or at least a lot of accountability from her end. And okay, I noticed that these are the things that I'm doing. And maybe there was the video was longer for her to express that, but I just didn't see it here. Where it's like, okay, so what are you actually doing, or what are you doing now to not do those things?
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, she said that she did it, so I noticed the smile or smirk as well. So I don't know why she was doing all that and, you know, doing the most there, but she, you know, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, that she was a lot, and she was a lot.
Yeah. So V says they asked where you went to school. I'm assuming that we're talking about in a, first couple of dates. And listen, if a guy asks you on the first couple of dates, you know, what do you do for a living, or your accomplishments, tell him. I mean, I don't think shy away from that, but I certainly think that you ought to move the conversation to him. You know, oh, listen, I'm a CEO of this, that, and the other, but tell me about yourself, or something like that. Just the first couple of dates, but you know, because you don't want to get into this whole competition thing. That would be my, and I hear the ladies who are saying you don't want to dim your light and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you worked hard for whatever degree and business you're into, and certainly nobody should be, you know. And if a guy's intimidated by that, and yes, I believe that some men are intimidated by that. And Mackie Samuel says there's a whole group of manosphere guys on social media whose primary goal seems to be to check accomplished women and bring those women down a few notches. I'm not in favor of that. I think the men ought to boss up and level up to the best of their abilities. But at the same time, I can say that. I can also say that if the ladies are presenting with any of the ideas or concepts or attitudes, behaviors that we talked about tonight, then you got to kind of check that, because you're not in the connection mode, as you said. During the competition mode, which I like. So
wait, don't move any further yet, Doc. What's manosphere, guy? I don't know this one.
Oh Lord. So the manosphere is a collection of platforms, be it written on Reddit or blogs or the videos, be it YouTube, Rumble, and they are talking to men about the problems that men have in the current dating environment, mostly the dating environment, and that would include divorce court, that would include getting jobs, feeling as if they were overlooked because they are men, and just a whole host of issues that are facing men. Now, I have maintained that the manosphere can start off in a good place, and there's some good men in the manosphere, right? Those who are telling you to get to the gym, get your life together. If you're running into the same type of men that Gina is, who is sitting in wheelchairs or not wheelchairs, but scooters and wheeling around Walmart and stuff, right? If you're running into not cleaning their fingernails and dirty shoes and stuff, yeah, then you need the manosphere to tell you to get yourself together and all that, right?
Okay.
Are there a collection of men in the manosphere who are saying some negative things? We don't care about your accomplishments. Well, not that we don't care, but it's just not as important as because I've got to do other things, right? So you're looking for certain things, and particularly for a guy who is accomplished, he's looking for peace. He's looking for a nurturer and things along those lines. So it's great that you have this level of education. It's great that you're doing this, but we also want to know that you can take care of my kids, that you can, keep a home together, because that's what an accomplished guy, the vast majority of the time, is going to be looking for. It is what it is. Are there some men who want something different, who want someone on their level? Yeah, I was listening to a debate last night where a guy was saying, I'm a lawyer, or he was in law school. I want to be a lawyer, and therefore I want to marry a lawyer, because that's great. There are certainly some men out there like that. So that's what the manosphere is. It's a collection of guys who are talking about this type of thing. How do we deal with child support court, divorce? Divorce is unfair. And so there's a good aspect to it. And again, the reason I came to there's two ways that I came to this particular space. The first way was when I was going for my master's degree. I was studying forensic psychology, and we're kind of studying, like, how do people get in prison? How do they get out of prison? Me being a Black male, I was really interested in, what's up with our communities, and, how come we have a higher incarceration rates and all this kind of stuff, right? So I'm looking at all that type of stuff, right? So I started to hear some of this manosphere type of talk. I'm reading the blogs and all that kind of stuff. And then when I got divorced, I'm like, what's going on out here? The dating market is a mess, so that brought me again to try to figure out, what I was doing wrong. And I was on some dating websites and stuff like that. And I'm like, how come I keep getting ghosted? I don't think I'm that terrible, and this, that, and the other. So that kind of brought me to the space. So that's kind of what it is, and we're trying to figure it out. Are there some good aspects to it? I mean, that there are. Maintain that there are some good aspects to it. Are there some bad aspects to it, where some guys are bitter and hate women and talk crazy? Yes, and I think guys should avoid that type of thing. My message to men is, work on yourself, become the best version of yourself, go back to school, get your education, develop a hobby that you can turn into a career, get to the gym, eat right, exercise, and all that kind of stuff. So that's my kind of spiel there. So
okay, all right, thank you for that.
All right. Okay, so I think that's L ghosting on my friend. Wait, friend's enemy. Be Mindful is in the building. Be Mindful. Hello to you. Be Mindful. Okay, so what do you got coming up? Tell us about your channel. What else you got going on?
So I have several things going on. I'm getting ready to launch. Actually, me and V and another coach are going to launch a 5-day challenge coming up pretty soon. So look for that. Subscribe to her channel, subscribe to my channel, as well as your people already subscribe to your channel. So that's coming up in the near future. And my channel, as I talked about, is, well, I didn't say, is actually Marshaun Olaniyan or Marshaun O. You can find me on either one of them. And I specifically, as I mentioned, try to help out the sisters to really figure out what they're doing right so they can keep that, and what they need some help in, so we can unearth those areas as well. And so yeah, that's what I have coming up. That's what I got going on right there.
And your channel, what's the name of your channel and your Instagram too, right?
Yeah, so Instagram is Marshaun at Marshaun_O, and YouTube is Marshaun O.
Okay, very good, very good. Danny loves says people doing too much, just keep it simple. Do you think that relationships are vastly more complex today than they were yesteryear?
I would say yes, just because we know more. The more information that we have, right? Once you start to see things, you can't unsee them. Once you start to understand things, you don't want to go backwards. So I think that they're more complicated because we know more. We're trying to do better. We're becoming more aware, self-aware, but also aware of the behaviors, the habits, the paying attention to, the types of conversations that we need to have, and not allowing things just to stay superficial. How do I actually get a deeper connection? So in that aspect, yes. But fundamentally, as we talked about, men want peace. Women pretty much want stability. And stability does not only come in the form of financially.
Yeah, you just open up a whole nother can of
worms. No, sir.
Listen, I gotta go.
No. I gave you
all
2
right,
hours, baby.
I'll have you back on. I'll have you back on to talk about
okay.
I appreciate the conversation. Y'all hit the Cash App, buy me some lunch, buy Coach Marshaun some lunch, go over to her channel and like her stuff there. I would really, really appreciate it. I don't push the Cash Apps and stuff or the super stickers enough, but y'all can hit that as well. We do take our time to come on the show and try to give you guys some good information here. So I hope that you all receive something tonight that you can take home and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. So that's it. So anything else you want to say? Anything we missed or anything like that? So,
no, I don't think that we missed anything. Just try to be more aware of how both people, right, men and women, are showing up when you're going out and dating, putting yourself out there. Specifically to the women who need to take off that hat, try to figure out a way for you to decompress so you can be more in your flirty, in your feminine, in your softness when you're there. And because we had the conversation specifically about competition, watching that you're not going down the road of competing, because again, big picture, don't care.
Last question, I promise. You brought this up. I shouldn't ask you anything. What do you think that women who have we talk about the whole wasting your years or fertility years or whatever we said. Do you think that women who have been bossing up, going to school, getting their education, are not able to do the flirty thing? Gloria's Love put this up before. I didn't put it on the screen, but she said just about smiling to a guy. Do they know how to be flirty and get a guy's attention? Do you think that is the case?
Specifically high-powered position women, the masculine?
Correct, yes. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it's innate for them. So it's not a natural thing that comes. It is a skill. It is a muscle that has to be practiced and massaged. Yeah. So I don't think it's innate. No, it may take working with someone to help you bring that stuff out and make it become more natural.
Very good. Very good. I appreciate that. So this is a picture that I got off of, I don't know if I got it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but this is the explicit message I got growing up was you can't depend on a man anymore. Times have changed. Instead of here's how to identify a man you can depend on, I will teach my daughters the latter. So here's a lady who kind of experienced this and said and didn't know enough about how to select a man who was going to be on her level or get what she wanted. Instead, she developed the mindset that says you can't trust a man and all that kind of stuff. So, so that's it. That was the last question. I promise you.
Did she say how that served her?
She didn't. It was just a snippet that I saw, and that's all I got. If anything I show, if there's more to it, then I certainly would try to put that up there. Okay. I'm not one to try to select. I don't know how it served her or whatever. It's a good question though. Don't know. Okay. It's a good question, and particularly for her daughter. You know, how is she serving her daughters? All right. So, all right. So that's it. You guys keep going on in the chats there. I appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. Much love and peace. Thank you so much for joining the show, and hit me in Cash App or Venmo. Buy me some lunch. Funds are running low.